Okay, well, thank you very much for joining. As I said, the very first of these weekly roundtables in something that we've started to call the 1% Club. And the 1% Club, the background to it is, I suppose it was Sir Dave Brailsford, who was the UK cycling head for many years, coined the phrase many years ago. And it was about marginal gains, the concept of marginal gains. And what we're looking to do as part of the Transformation Leaders Hub over every week now moving forward is each week we cover a different subject, which will be a marginal gain. That if you look to apply it and look to integrate it within your daily activities, hopefully it will help you to build greater success in your change and transformation career. So it is just looking at little tweaks, little things that you can integrate into your daily activities that will hopefully make a slight difference and help you build your career in the future. So I was going to do an introduction, but we've got 18 people, so we'll probably take up most of the time if we go around. But in the discussion stage later, if you've got anything to say, if you just introduce yourself very briefly before you make your comment, that's a way that we can start to get that sort of engagement going moving forward. For those that don't know, my name's Tony Lockwood. I'm a 25 plus year veteran in change and transformation. Started in banking, but moved across multiple sectors. And just over 12 months ago, I formed the Transformation Leaders Hub, which is a community focused exclusively on those people operating in change and transformation. And the concept was, let's help people to build that network, which will hopefully help to open up opportunities. And as you know, in change and transformation, we're all project-based. And today we can be a person that's leading a project. Tomorrow we're looking for a project to get involved in, whether you're permanent, whether you're freelance, whether you're a consultant or not. So having that network and that ability to connect with people was the premise of the Transformation Leaders Hub. Over the last 12 months, it's grown on an ongoing basis, a gradual growth. We've got people in the UK, we've got people in the States, we've got people in Europe, and we've got quite a good following now down under. So it's very much focused upon helping people develop their careers in change and transformation. So without further ado, let me very briefly share my screen and take you through the 5 ways to leverage your LinkedIn profile to attract more opportunities. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
The TLH 1% Club focus on marginal gains. Okay, brilliant. So just briefly covering off the agenda, the 5 areas that we're going to cover. Number 1 is getting the basics right in your profile. There's 3 key areas that I think are critical to get right in your profile, because these are the first things that people see when they are looking for you, when you are when you've put any comments upon on anything on LinkedIn. These are the first 3 things that people see, so it's critical that you get them right. Number 2 is now looking at the about you aspect and introducing the principle of AIDA and why that is important, and how you can integrate that within your profile. Number 3, looking at your experience, and a lot of people utilize the experience piece. It's almost a cut and paste from the CV, and I'll explain, in my opinion, why that doesn't really work that well, and how you can maybe adapt it to make it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more focused to open up opportunities for you moving forward. And actually, what I'm going to tell you on that is equally applicable into your CV, in my opinion. Number 4, we'll start looking at engagement. And being clear about who you're talking to and why that is important. And finally, we'll move into consistency. Just one sec, someone else is joining. So moving into consistency, getting your rhythm right, and how you can measure your progress moving forward within LinkedIn, and making sure that you are doing the things that are going to attract and open up opportunities for you. So any questions on any of those before I go into detail on the first one? No? Okay, let's move forward then. So looking at the profile, and I've just put this picture up, which is my profile. So I didn't embarrass anybody else. I'm not from it 1 minute saying this is perfect. It's not, but it's just bringing out some of the aspects that I think are important in the three areas that we're going to cover. And fundamentally, if you remember, this is the top screen. This is above the fold in marketing terms, what people see when they click on your profile. So it's important that you get these three elements right. The first one is your image, and all too often, I don't know about you, but when you look, some people don't have an image on at all, and it's like, well, what you're trying to hide. Some people, you can't actually see them because there's so much background noise. And again, people want to connect with people. That's what we do. That's our standard way. So make your picture, look into the camera, look out at the person. Smile, because people always get attracted to people who are smiling, and cut out all of the noise behind you. Try to have a blank background. And again, if you can put those sort of three things into place, then people will start to get a little bit more attracted to you and start to look at your profile. Sorry, there's a bit of background noise. I think someone's moving around. So can we just go on to mute? That's it, it's gone now. Brilliant, thank you. The second aspect is your headline. All too often, people rely just on the default. It's program manager at the company that you're working with, and which is fine. But people will see that you're a program manager or transformation director or whatever when they start to look down your profile. But what this is a real opportunity is to really focus upon a clear message. What I would term your elevator pitch. It's the message that you want to get across. So, and within that message, who do you work with? What do you do? And what's the benefit? And again, I'm not for 1 minute saying that that's perfect, but it starts to tell that I work with executive teams. I help them deliver successful change and transformation. And I then also bring in that I sort of lead this global community of change and transformation leaders. It's important because everywhere you appear, any comment that you make on LinkedIn, that or a part of that headline is what people see. So if you can get the message across in the right way and target the people that you want to talk to, then people start to get attracted to you and will click on your profile and start to look down. And then the third bit that I briefly want to cover off is the banner. And all too often, people just ignore this. It's really simple to use this banner, and you can put whatever you want in there. There's a simple tool on Canva.com. If you've not come across it, I'll show you in a second. That have got lots and lots of templates. But again, it's your opportunity. This is your sort of advertising piece, really. It's your opportunity to put in there something that tells people what you're all about. Being critical of mine, I think it's not that clear. It tells you what I'm doing, but it's not that clear who I do it to. I'm missing the opportunity to put a call to action or my telephone number or my email address. I've got the website addresses, but it could be a lot better in giving people the opportunity to really understand who I am, what I do, how I can help them, and how to get in touch with me. That's the sort of messaging that you if you could put into the banner. So Canva, you've got a real opportunity here. There's a paid for service, but there's a free service, Canva.com. And if you go into, when you click into templates, you will see here LinkedIn banners. And when you go down, on with Canva when it comes up, you've got a whole range of different templates that you can use. There's hundreds of them, and it is simply a case of then clicking on one, whichever you choose, customize this template, and then you've got the ability to, when it comes up, it's going slow today, you've got the ability to change the color, change the wording, change the imagery, and you've got all these photographs that you can use. You can upload your own, different text styles, everything. There's so many variations that you can do. Really, no one should have any excuse, and it's a completely free resource. So really, you've got no excuses to have a completely blank banner on the top of your LinkedIn profile. Does anybody else use that? Just out of interest, whilst I'm swapping over again. No. So it's a really good resource. There's loads of things in Canva, and I would definitely encourage you to go and have a look at it.
Very powerful.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, I use it a lot for different social media imagery. It's a really powerful resource, and I think even the paid for one, which frees up a lot of additional services, is a tenner a month. It's not massive expensive, but you can get a massive amount just from the free one. So let's move on. So that's the profile. 3 things that I think you need to focus in on. The second area that we want to cover is the About You page. And again, I've just taken a screenshot of mine. Again, not for 1 minute saying this is best practice, but I'm just using it to give you an example of what I mean. And AID has been around for many years. It's been integrated into marketing for 20, 30 years. I think it was when I was in the bank that I first came across it. But it's as true now as it's ever been. And the principle is on any advertising or any medium or any email that you send, the first thing that you've got to do is grab people's attention. Yeah, because if you think about it, when if you're putting your CV forward for a role, or if you're doing any marketing, people get lots and lots of stuff. They get lots of CVs to look at. The first thing you've got to do is grab their attention, because until you grab their attention and stop them, they'll just keep moving on and going on to the next one. So I try to do that by saying, okay, here's a statement about change and transformation. Massive amount of change initiatives fail. So it grabs their attention if they're interested in change and transformation. Yeah. The next thing to do is grab their interest, because you've grabbed their attention, so you stop them in the tracks. But now you've got to build their interest so that they start to read down. So I do that by asking this question and trying to engage with them to dreadful statistics, aren't they? And then once I've grabbed their attention and started to build their interest, because then if they agree with me that it's dreadful statistics, hopefully they're now starting to think, oh, okay, what's he going to talk about now? Is he going to tell me about X, Y, Z? So it's just trying to build that interest level up. Once you've got their interest, you've got to start to build a desire to engage with you. So I then start to say, I've worked for many years in helping organizations through change and transformation, some that have failed and some that have succeeded. So again, a bit of interest there. It's like, okay, he must know what's the difference between success and failure in change and transformation, and can he bring that to the party in discussions with me? And then as I go down, I'm starting to give them an understanding of what I do to help them overcome those challenges that they'll face when they're driving through change and transformation. And then the final aspect of AIDA is help them to take action. You encourage them to take action. So again, mine's not brilliant, because all I've said is here's a link to the website. If you've got stuff that you can give them to where they can get get something that you can share with them, some help guides, anything like that. It may be better to have a link that they can go to a website and download that and exchange their email for some information. But again, it's just trying to get them engaged. Lower down on my profile, I put my contact information in, mobile number and email address. So again, there's a way for them to engage with me immediately if they want to. But it's just trying to get a structure to that way. Again, a lot of people almost just put the cut and paste the profile piece or the summary piece from the CV into this. There's I can't remember exactly how many characters, but there's a couple of thousand characters that you've got there. So it's really good real estate. So if you can use it to your advantage. The third aspect of LinkedIn that I think we can really start to leverage is your experience and projects. Depending upon how you structure it, there's two parts where you can put your experience in. You can put it in under experience, which tends to be linked to specific companies. But if you're a freelancer, you might want to put it in projects, or if you're a consultant, you might want to put it in projects. But within whichever area you put it within LinkedIn, the key is to tell a story, because we all love stories. If you think about it, from a very early age, we've been told stories. We've been engaging with people through stories, and stories help to create vision in our minds. So let's utilize that natural ability of ours to pick up a story and run with it in the way that we describe what we do and what we've done. So again, utilize the AIDA principle. So can you attract, grab their attention, build their interest, build their desire, drive action? But adopt like a case study approach. Now, again, going back to my banking days, we utilized what was termed the STAR principle, and many people have used it. But for the experience in projects, I think it's really useful. So what was the situation that you found when you started to engage with the client, the project, the organization? What tasks were you asked to undertake? What specific actions did you take, and what were your results? And really emphasize the results and the value that you delivered. Because fundamentally, whether you're going for a permanent job, whether you're going for a contracting job, whether you're going for a consultancy gig, the client, the organization, the employer is not interested in what you do and how you do it. They're interested in the value that you can deliver, the outcome that you can deliver. So if you focus your experience and your projects upon the value that you've delivered with similar organizations, that again will elevate you to a higher plane within when people are comparing individuals, especially in an interview type of situation. The fourth area that we want to cover is engagement. When you engage, whatever that format is, whether or not it's putting a post up, whether it's commenting upon people on other people's posts, whether it's writing an article, be clear about who you're talking to. And why I say this is that the more you can niche down in terms of understanding the people that you want to work with and the people that you feel you can add most value to, the more you can start to really talk to them. You can really start to adopt their language, and by talking to them and adapting and adopting their language, you start to appear to them. You start to appear to be like them, and people always like to work with people that are like them. And so, it's counterintuitive a lot of the times that LinkedIn is such a vast arena, 660 million people. So I want to publicize and tell people that as many people as possible what I can do. But in reality, the more you can niche down and focus on the people that you really want to work with, the more chance you've got of hitting them at the right time with the right messages. And they can then put their hand up and say, yeah, I'm really interested in talking to you, Tony. Can you come in and help me to do X, Y, Z? And post relevant materials and use hashtags. there's lots of hashtags around there. You can create your own, but there's lots of regular ones. So if you want to focus in on social housing organizations or cryptocurrency, use a relevant hashtag, because once you've got that, then some people search LinkedIn on hashtags, and again you'll come up, and by coming up with your comment or with your post, they then see your picture, they see your headline, and then they start to engage. And comment and add value. The critical part of this is adding value. A lot of people, when people have been in jobs for 3 years, you get a notification that such and such everybody's 3-year anniversary, and they just put in happy anniversary or happy birthday or whatever. If you can engage with them a little bit more so that you stand out, it's always better. And again, if you're making comments upon something, don't just say great post. Explain why you think it's a great post. It's a great opportunity to really start to hone in and work with people that you want to work with. And finally, consistency. There's always a big challenge with people in terms of how frequently should you post. Should you be posting 5 times a day? Should you be posting 1 time a day? Doesn't really matter. In my opinion, the critical thing is get consistency. So don't go and do 10 posts one day and then nothing for the next 5 days. It's far better to do a post a day, or a post every other day, or a comment every other day. But get some sort of consistency in, and do different things. So stay active on a consistent basis, but post maybe 1 or 2 days a week. Comment on other people's posts 1 or 2 days a week. Make sure that you're viewing people, because there's quite a lot of robots out there now, and technologies that will come out and go in and post things. And LinkedIn work that out, they suss that out. So if all you're doing is posting and commenting and liking, they start to think that you're a bot, especially if you're just doing standard type of comments. So the more you can be personal, and the more you can be very, very focused and do some viewings and adding value, the more it demonstrates that you're not a robot, you're a real person. And what LinkedIn have created is this social selling index, and there's a link here. Everyone has it, and it's almost a way that LinkedIn sort of say, how active are you? What type of things do you get involved in? Are you? And then they almost give you that score and compare you with across the LinkedIn community, within your industry, within your network. And they look at these four components. So have you established your professional brand? So again, that goes back to the headline, the imagery, your experience, your project, and completing your profile as much as possible, because they like completeness. Do you find the right person? So this is about going viewing people and going engaging with people. And is there consistency in that, in terms of who you are connecting with? If you're just going around scattergun type of approach, then you'll probably score slightly less in there. But fundamentally, if you can be a little bit more clever in who you approach and what you do in that approach, then you'll start to score high in there. Are you engaging with insights? So again, if all you're doing is, great post, thanks Tony, it's not really adding anything, is it? But if you're engaging and explaining why you think it's a great post, and introducing a slightly different perspective, that's where you'll start to get a high score there. And are you actively building relationships? And how are you doing that? If it's just sending a connection request, getting a response, sending a thank you, and then trying to sell, you'll probably be scored down. If it's connection request, engaging, slowly building up those relationships, that's where you'll start to go high. This probably change. I sort of see this move up and down probably every 2 to 3 weeks. It's not, as far as I'm aware, it's not instantaneous. But if you track it over a period of time, you can actually start to see the movement. And you can actually start to see if you break that consistency, you can actually start to see it fall away. So I think I've not been as active recently as I was previously. So I think probably back in May, June time, mine was about 83, 84. It's dropped to 75 now, because it is been that sort of the activity. I've been doing other stuff. So I've not been as active on LinkedIn as I was previously. So those are the 5 things. So as I said, the 3 things on your profile, really focusing in and trying to grab attention, building interest, building desire, and having that call to action. Very much about experience, about focusing upon the value that you can deliver to a very niche group of people and talking their language. Excuse me. And really talking to them and getting focusing on their issues and their challenges, and then getting that consistency, getting your rhythm right. The key thing here is that although that looks like it's a process, if you do all 5 of them on a consistent basis, that's where you really start to get those massive marginal gains, and your SSI score will go through the roof. So that's it for the formal part. But I've just noticed that let me come out of the sharing, because there's been some comments in the chat. So, Scott has just shared in chat. He's shared a link to Canva overviews and training with some links in there, which I think I've seen a couple of them, but the 1 hour 41 I certainly haven't seen. So is that are they good, Scott? Are they?
They are good. I'm actually doing a Canva presentation tomorrow, and I just grabbed those resources from a part of the presentation I'm making.
Oh, brilliant.
Canva is a great tool for backgrounds in Zoom, LinkedIn banners, or any advertising promotional stuff.
I absolutely, totally agree. Andrew, do you recommend the best case study or the most recent? It depends what you're looking to do, Andrew. In truth, I think if you're looking to open up opportunities, then absolutely use your best case studies. But equally at the same time, a case study. If be real with your case studies, because not every project that you will have been involved in will have been massively successful, and actually there's as much benefit for an organisation of taking your experience into them if you've worked through some really challenging situations. So focus your case studies on what the areas where you think on areas that you feel are the most relevant to the work that you want to do in future, and if that's where you've gone, if you're building a portfolio of going in and turning programs around, focusing on that and focusing on the issues and the challenges that we're facing, and if that could be the most recent, but it could be something that you've done 5 or 6 years ago, it will still be relevant to the organizations that you want to talk to. Does that make sense? So any other comments or any other thoughts on what we've covered, and equally any other things that you've used LinkedIn for that you think should have been in that top 5 things that I've covered off today?
Tony, I totally agree with everything you've said. I think there's another one that might be worth people considering, and although I love everybody on these Zoom calls, on LinkedIn, there's a part called People Also Viewed, and it comes up with people that are similar to you. So if you're a photographer, for example, and somebody goes on that photographer's LinkedIn page, it'll then say, people also viewed all these other photographers. And if you're being competitive, you can remove that, so that if you're looking at my profile, you won't see people always also viewed. But I've just looked at somebody's on this Zoom call, and they've got the people also viewed still active. And might be a bit mean, but it's just stopping people once they've found you, then picking up all the other people that are similar work-wise.
No, that absolutely, totally agree with you. I'm just trying. They keep changing the way that you change it. I'm just trying to work out where you change that now.
I think it's in me. I can't remember how you do it because I did it a long while ago. But I think it's in the me, and it's where you've got your privacy and stuff like that. I think it's in there somewhere.
Yeah. So if I just let me share a screen.
I think it's the one called People Also Viewed. So it's under your account preferences.
Yeah. So can you see my LinkedIn profile now? It's going really slow today for some reason. So it's under this, isn't it? Under me, and then it's under one of these settings in privacies, I think. Visibility, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a long time since I did it.
Tony, it's under account preferences.
Account preferences.
I think it's under that.
Is it that one?
And then is it? Hold on, I just had it.
Oh yeah, there it is.
People also viewed. Yeah,
and you can change it to yes or no. So it's a simple no. But yeah, John's absolutely right. Switch it off. Because if people want to come in, let them do their own work. Don't help them to point them in the direction of a competitor, because LinkedIn do actually utilize that as a way of putting people that are like you. And in a previous role that I was fulfilling within Thomson Wright Partners, where we were doing some recruitment, I would use that all the time. If I was looking for someone, I would literally identify a perfect person and then just click through all the people that are like it. So recruiters will use that all the time.
Well, thank you very much, John. That's my 1% for this morning.
Oh, brilliant! I'm glad I pleased somebody.
You know, I mean, everything else you've said, though, Tony. To be quite honest, I mean, it's all good stuff. And a really good reminder for this stuff. I think I've come across most of it before, but this is really good. But that is completely new. I never knew you could turn that off. Thanks. And so that's the power of networking there, isn't it? In these sessions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sorry, Chad. Sorry, I was going to say, and if people really want your connections, then they can come to me, and I can say, "Oh, I know X person who can do this role similar to me," and I'm not bothered about doing that with my network. I just don't want recruiters just having an easy life. I think is the key thing. Sorry, Tony.
No. I was just going to say, it's absolutely right. These things, if all you get is one little nugget, it's a worthwhile half-hour investment, isn't it? And that's the key, and that's what we're trying to do with any of these weekly sessions. Introduce some things that might be new to you. They might be refreshing, or a refresher, shall I say, of stuff that you've heard before. But if you take one idea away and apply it, and it makes a difference, then it's been worthwhile. And any other thoughts or experiences that you want to share with how you successfully use LinkedIn?
Tony, just a question. Do you have your content story turned on? Do you have that little video over your picture turned on?
I do, yes. Yeah. So let me show you. But
you don't get any. You don't know if people watch it or click on it, do you? You don't see anything on that.
I don't know. I've not worked out whether or not it tells you. Whether or not you can find out who's viewed that or not. So what Kim was talking about there is when you go onto your profile, you can put a little video behind it.
Yeah,
So when people hover over,
there are a lot of things now you can only do from the mobile version. You can't do it from the desktop version, which is a little frustrating. But over half the users are mobile users out there. So that's an area, and I'm just as guilty because I'm a desktop guy. My eyes, I need to type, I need to be comfortable.
Yeah.
By the way, a couple of other tidbits. I really appreciate my 1% included the hashtags. I mean, I do hashtags in posts, I do hashtags in a bunch of places, but I really don't do hashtags on the profile, and that's actually a great idea. So I appreciate that search insight. Another comment, if I may, I'm a big fan of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits. Number 2, begin with the end in mind.
Yeah.
So the thought is, and it was interesting conversation on hiding or showing people also viewed. And I'm from the other school of why I'm here, what I'm doing. I have a couple of motivations, but I have no problem keeping that turned on, because if people can see through me other resources, it's kind of co-opetition as opposed to competition.
Yes.
But so you can see, and then others can see your connections. Again, I have that opened up because, if I can help you, great. If I can't help you, great. That's obviously finding the right folks, but being able to share the resources that are there. And then I'll add 2 more prospecting thoughts and ideas. One is alumni is a powerful area to go in when you're looking at schools, alumni, because alumni are actually a warm audience to go after and to enhance that. And one other way of prospecting is under events. Every time you register for an event, you don't have access to all the fellow other attendees that registered. And I'm finding about 10 or 15% on average. I've done some presentations and I've initiated events. Even though people sign up for these events, maybe 10 or 15% will actually attend these events. I don't know what your percentage is on this one, but it's always interesting to see. But by being able to see other folks that are participating, obviously have similar interests, it's a natural market to pursue and go after. So food for thought on other ways to use LinkedIn.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for that. So we are just approaching the 45-minute mark, which is when we said that we would close. I'm quite happy to stay on if you want to continue the conversation. We've recorded this and it will be put up into the Transformation Leaders Hub community within a special group that we've created on that. If you're a member, you get access to it. If you're not, I will just share with you a link for you to on the within chat, a link where you can click through and get free access to TLH. On there, as I said, it's a network for change and transformation people. So people get involved in events. We run a virtual networking session every other week. We're training up there. There's capabilities just to connect with people and communicate with people. And what we found is that it opens up opportunities for discussions and collaborations. And there's a few members on today that I know have been involved in collaborations with different people that they've met through the community. So feel free, get on board and get involved in future events. We're running these 1% club sessions every Wednesday at 9:30. So we will communicate out usually on the Friday or the Saturday before what the subject matter will be for the next week. And I could have told you what it was for next week because I've worked out what they are for the next 4 weeks. But it's completely gone out of my mind and I haven't made any notes. So there's my lesson for today. Make a note to remind me what's on next week. But any final comments or thoughts before we close up? So Andrew, I think you're on mute. Oh, no. Can't hear you, Andrew.
Tony, I'll just make a comment. This has been great today because I think we've had more women on this call than I've seen in total over the last several months on these calls.
Brilliant.
Somebody's rallying the troops then, obviously.
Okay, so I'm just trying. Susie Ralston, what's your photograph there? What's in the tin?
Hi, Tony. Yeah, it was a bit of a gag a while ago where at work people were saying that as lockdown happened, people were getting a little bit more informal. So they were taking the mick out of the fact that I'd gone from Suzanne to Suze without. So I changed my photo to a can of worms, which is how I describe my job.
Brilliant, love it. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you in future.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Cheers, Dan. Bye-bye.
Bye.